Nick?
Yeah.
What's
Very
wrong with
good.
you now?
Can somebody finish this team off? It's not my problem because my team's in the AFC.
You fear, though. He's the last guy you want to see in the Super Bowl,
entire
clearly.
NFC has to be devastated with the incompetence of the Rams a few weeks ago and the fighting Dennis Allens, whatever the hell that was last night.
All right.
Because this team now is not only not dead, this team is as guaranteed to be in the playoffs as the Eagles and the Vikings. And last night that could have changed. You had Brady disobeying a direct order from Todd Bowles, an odd little standoff about we're punting. No, we're not. I'm staying out here. Well, I'm sending the punter out there anyway. They were dead. Mark Ingram, I understand he's playing through an injury, just has to not run out of bounds. Or the Saints have to go for it on a fourth down. Or they have to not do a prevent.
That doesn't work. That doesn't seem to work.
No, you watched the Rams die this way a few weeks ago.
Teams do it week after week.
Well, they got to
after week.
stop.
It's ridiculous.
You got to stop holding the Tom Brady Bucs to 3 points for 55 minutes doing one thing and then changing it.
I'm with you.
Because here's what I know. I know that Tampa is going to go into the playoffs. Can we show their schedule? They're going to lose the next couple weeks. It doesn't matter. They're going to go into the playoffs on a bit of a winning streak because they have the Cardinals, they have the Panthers, they have the Falcons. And then they're going to be hosting some NFC East team, and they're going to beat them because they have a great defense and they have that guy. They're going to get a critical call late in the game as they did last night. Last night they deserved it, but whether you deserve it or not, if you have Brady, you're going to get one. And then the other team is going to just melt down in the face of Brady. And he's never going to leave. So, yeah, it's just, it's just so frustrating. He should be gone.
Well, let me get to the bottom of this.
Sure, let's go.
Because Nick clearly is scared.
No.
The last thing he wants,
sick of it.
the last thing you want, Nick, is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
No, I would love that.
Against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
I would actually love that just because it's the only way for Mahomes to get even.
But do you think he would?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, but let's not make this about the Chiefs.
Because you seem to be very scared. Why?
This
the
is about
Bucs
Michael
are not
Myers.
good. The Bucs are not good.
They're not good.
I mean, Nick, it was sensational. It was another Brady moment. It was tremendous. But they are not a good team.
So what?
They'll make the playoffs. And you're right. The NFC is becoming kind of a joke. But they're not beating Philly. You mentioned an NFC East team. They're not beating Philadelphia in the playoffs.
Do you think they could beat Dallas? It's going to be the
Dallas's ceiling is as high as, maybe higher than anybody in the NFC. But here's the problem with Dallas. They are more likely than any contender to hit their floor. On any given playoff Sunday, they might come out there and play at their floor level, and that's when a Tampa Bay team could beat them. But, Nick, look, Tampa Bay, let me count the ways.
Go.
They should have come out with an impressive performance last night, and they scraped by the hair in their chinny chin chin. It was in Tampa, number one. Number two, you were facing a 4-win team that had lost 3 of its last 4. Number three, Andy Dalton, who hasn't been good for half a decade, was the opposing quarterback. Number 4,
that was a little Jameis.
you're darn right. Jameis should have been out there.
Number 4, you better say Dennis
you're coming off a bad loss to the Browns and Jacoby Brissett. And number 5, it's that time of year. Like, this is when the Buccaneers should be like, we are gearing up. We go through the whole 17 for this, for the playoffs coming around the corner. And they still, with all those reasons, couldn't do anything. Couldn't play well.
I'm working with Jamie Lee Curtis over here. You don't see the Michael Myers. No. You can say he's dead. They could have chopped his head off last night. They didn't. And he's going to come back to bite you.
You're being catfished.
I'm being catfished.
Yeah, you're being catfished.
Okay, explain.
The Bucs are a catfish team. They look good. They sound good. Well, they look good. Let me show you the graphic. You look at this team like, ooh, that team looks good. Oh, my goodness. And then you dig down a little bit deeper. You take off the makeup. Worst passer rating than Andy Dalton for Tom Brady. That's not good. How about the wide receivers? 3rd fewest yards per reception. How about the running backs? Only team with less than 100 rushing yards. They average 18 points a game. 18 points a game.
Great.
Why are you
Can
scared?
I show you
That's
a
right,
better
18
graphic?
Points a game.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, because here's what I know about playoff football. It's very good to have a great defense or a very good defense, and it's really good to have a quarterback that you can trust. So
Sure.
I can't show you the graphic, but I can tell you this.
Okay.
Here are the playoff teams. In the
I have a
NFC,
graphic we can show
you've got the number 1 seed Jalen Hurts. He's 0-1 in his playoff career. That came against Tom Brady and the Bucs last year. Then you have Kirk Cousins. He's 1-2 in his playoff career. Then the 3 seed right now is Brock Purdy. He's 0-0 in his playoff career. Mm-hmm. Then there's Brady. The 5 seed's Dak. The 6 seed is Geno Smith, and the 7 seed is Taylor Heineke. So and I might have had one of those mistaken.
6 seed is Daniel Jones.
Yeah, you forgot Daniel Jones.
Okay, Daniel Jones or Taylor Heineke, one of them.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the rest of the NFC playoff quarterbacks combined, I believe, have a lifetime playoff record of 3-5. Tom Brady's 36-12. He has as good of a defense as anyone in the conference other than San Francisco and Dallas. You're telling me that team that you're going to feel good about any of those quarterbacks, any of them, going on the road against Tom Brady? Because that's the other thing with the silly format where winning the division doesn't just get you a playoff berth, it gets you a home game. You're going to feel confident if the Eagles lose a couple times, and one of them's to Dallas, and they lose that tiebreak in their division, they're 14-3. But because of the way the playoffs work, Dallas also 14-3, and they win the NFC East. You're telling me you don't think Philly would go into that game anxious? The same place they got their ass kicked last year.
Look, I hear you, but there's really only, and their defense is pretty good, Tampa. But there's really only one reason to believe in them the way you do. Never count out Tom Brady.
Well,
that's it.
That's fine.
But that's history,
Never
though.
count out Tom Brady.
He does
with
not
a
look
great
very
defense.
good this year.
No, but guys, how many times do we have to see the same story? That the defense keeps them in it. They should have lost that game by 3 touchdowns to Dennis Allen, and they won. And they won it twice.
I know, but it's not the defense. The story of the Bucs Super Bowl run was this awesome, explosive offense.
No, that's not how they. No, I disagree with you.
Tom Brady throwing 45 touchdowns?
No,
you don't think that, I understand the defense was good, but it was Tom Brady and Mike Evans and Gronkowski and Antonio Brown.
The offense is a shell of what it used to be.
They're not scoring points.
I'm not saying I think the Bucs are the best team in the league. I'm not saying I'm picking them to make.
You think they're the best in the NFC?
No, I don't. No. But I think that the idea, if the question is the rest of the NFC, if the Bucs are this bad team, how do you think the coaches and GMs of every other NFC playoff team was watching that game? Do you think they were like, oh, sweet, they're going to get in? That's good. That team, I don't know if you've seen it, but Kevin Wildes told me they can't run the ball, and Mike Evans and Tom Brady haven't been good this year. Let's get thank God they're in there. Or do you think every other NFC team watched that game the way I did? Like, you've got to be kidding me that this team is still alive.
I'll give you that. But I'm baffled, Nick, that you thought they weren't going to make the playoffs. I don't mean weeks ago. I mean last night. Even if they had lost that game, I think they're winning that division.
Oh, if they lose
is that bad?
Game, if they lose that game, the Saints are right there, and their next 2 are against San Francisco and Cincinnati. Instead, I feel like that game is such a crushing emotional blow for the Saints. I don't think that they can recover.
I agree with that. They're not that good either.
All right, let's dig into this game-winning drives debate. We discussed this in the morning meeting, and it got heated, so stay with us. Brady sets the record, 44th career fourth-quarter comeback. Here's the most game-winning drives in the last 3 seasons. Derek Carr, go Raiders. Some people have them going all the way to the Super Bowl, bro. Kirk Cousins, Herbert, Brady.
Yeah.
Your guy Mahomes isn't on there.
Cousins.
Yeah, because go ahead. Sorry.
What are you doing?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, buddy.
Which quarterback would you want leading your team on a game-winning drive?
No, it didn't sting me. It was that graphic to me is self-defeating. I think that the fact that Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr is on there shows you the context of it is a little misleading. Like, in order to have a game-winning drive, you need to have a lot of opportunities of trailing in the fourth quarter.
Too.
Yes, but Brady, the last few years, the Bucs have not been. That was the last 3 years. Was that correct? Mm-hmm. So to me, there's only 3 eligible answers.
Okay.
Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. There are 3 guys that in the league right now.
This is all Josh
Is there a
Allen
guy?
slander.
I was going to say,
All
isn't there this guy
like
in Buffalo?
Subtext of Josh Allen slander.
I'm not gonna pick a guy who leads the league in red zone picks, but that's me. And leads the league in regular picks, that's me. I'm not gonna pick a guy who has 0 career playoff game-winning drives, but that's me. Like, I'm just not gonna pick that guy. But you guys go ahead. That's if you'd like to.
He's in the discussion. No.
There's 3 guys to me. This is how I would phrase it. If you're rooting for that team, if you're betting on that team, what would you rather? Them take the lead with 90 seconds left in the game, or them give up the lead with 90 seconds left and be getting the ball? There's only 3 guys that I would rather will give up the lead and be getting the ball.
Sure.
And it's Brady, Mahomes, and Burrow. My answer for 2022 is clearly Patrick Mahomes. I think Tom Brady, it is unbelievable that Tom Brady is still in the discussion for it. And he showed you last night, and he showed you against the Rams that he's still in the discussion for it. But I think even Chris Broussard, who has called Patrick Mahomes Jordan-esque, who has said he's the most talented quarterback he's ever seen, will say that right now, this moment, Patrick Mahomes would be everybody's answer for the guy you'd want with the ball in his hands at the end of a game with a chance to go win it.
I wanted to. I really was with you because, as you said, I do think Mahomes, obviously Brady's a GOAT. Mahomes, I think, has the best I've ever seen at the quarterback position. So I was all emotional like Nick and ready to go with Mahomes. But then Dusty gave me some numbers. And fortunately for you, Nick, it was too late to get on the graphic. But check this out, Nick. This swayed me. I got to go with Brady is my answer. Since 2018, passer rating on a team's final drive. Okay, final drive of the game.
This is the most.
Tom Brady 111.7.
Oh, point.
That would be first in the league.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes 87.5. That would be 23rd in the 32-team league.
Even good.
And there's more. Hold on, there's more. You're fortunate Dusty couldn't get this on the graphic.
Some graphics problems.
Here's the other thing. Interceptions, because this was what I was wondering. Interceptions, I see Mahomes do that quite a bit on the last drive, right? Tom Brady, interceptions on the team's final drive. Tom Brady, 2. Best in the league, right? 32nd, you know. Patrick Mahomes, 5. That's tied for 7th most. It's settled. I'm a facts over feelings guy. That's why I rock with Jimmy G. I'm facts over feelings. The facts say Tom Brady.
Then how can you say he's the best you've ever seen? Sounds to me like he is, as the kids would say, mid.
Well, first of all, this is new information to me.
I'm curious.
But I'm still sticking with Mahomes. I'm still sticking with Mahomes.
And listen, I don't know if we are or aren't having graphics issues. Could it maybe be that our graphics department was looked at that request and said, this is so intellectually dishonest, none of us will sign off on it? Because we also know, as we've discussed throughout the year, that Mahomes, when trailing by double digits, the best in league history by a mile. Mahomes, when trailing going into the fourth quarter, the best in league history. All of those things. And so I don't think it is, just like I don't think it's ridiculous to, forget this year, a couple years ago, say, yeah, LeBron is still great and one of the best in the league, but Giannis is better. It is not disrespectful to Tom Brady to say, when it comes to clutch quarterbacking, he is still great and one of the best in the league, but a guy who is at the most talented we've ever seen has surpassed.
I agreed until I saw
Until you saw passer rating on the final drive.
Interceptions, too.
And the interception.
I'm just,
I mean, it's pretty valid. I mean, you're Mr. Consistency, but he's facts over feelings.
Yeah, totally.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.